Well, Russia's falling apart, but they're on a hair trigger. I'm going to tell you what the real situation is. I know a lot of people look at Russia to see the map, right? They say, wow, what a big country. Biggest country in the world. It's got 9 time zones. But population wise, it's only less than half the United States. And actually, there's a lot of division amongst ethnic type people. If you look at the next map, you see actually Russia's got federations. It's a Russian federation. It's got semi-autonomous, semi-independent republics within Russia because they're just different types of people. And actually, most of the wealth of the commodities comes from these outlying areas, way out here in Siberia and Yenis, whatever his name is. And the thing is that they they don't get the money. The money is actually all around Moscow, St. Petersburg with the oligarchs, and that's just the way the deal is. So I'd imagine the people in the outlying areas of Russia really aren't too supportive of the government. But you look at the map, you see this really big country, right? And you think, wow, they're powerful, but they got a lot of nukes. But let me tell you this: that the situation is this. I'm really getting. I don't really like the old major media too much, but the alternative media is actually beginning to be actually a worse source of information than any of them for a fact, because they're just dramatizing things for profit, and I don't know if they're even working for the Russians or whatever the hell they're doing. Uh, the reality situation is actually Russia is actually having such economic turmoil, and they have an economy that basically is two-thirds based upon energy. So if they're not exporting energy, and with the energy prices depressed, they're screwed. If the American dollar went down by half inside of a year, could you imagine what Salenti, Manarino, and Gerald Rivero would be saying? Oh my God, there'd be no end to it. Like, oh God, the elite are falling apart and blah blah blah. Actually, Russia's really getting clobbered over the oil prices and the sanctions. Um, I'm going to say something else too because I already know what there's a knee-jerk reaction to some people are because I can already tell but what they how they freaking respond. They go, I don't know, whatever. Actually, there's a lot of evidence to show that Ukraine was actually shelled from Russia proper, not just from satellites, but from social media, from people on the ground taking videos, and where they were located, and shelling came from Russia proper to the Ukraine. It's like there wasn't just rebels. There just wasn't. It wasn't just Russian troops in there, Russian equipment helping the separatists. There was actually shelling coming from Russia proper into Ukraine. Mm. People want to believe what they want to believe, but that's not too far of a stretch at all if you want to freaking use a little common sense. But the other thing is, it was on a social media. Now, my point is here: Russia's actually getting really weak economically, rampant inflation. They got a lot of division. They're not really a unified country. But here's the clincher: they're on a hair trigger. They're on a hair trigger, and at any time they can release biological weapons, chemical weapons. You tell me they won't, but they can. They can. Actually, when I look at it this way, Russia is in such a situation that they are not going. Well, it's not Russia. It's Putin. It's Putin. It's him. You got this guy on the top, and his propaganda is pretty effective in some areas through Russia Today, Abigail with breaking the set and all this other garbage. But the reality of the situation is he's not going to back down. Even though Russia's getting weaker and weaker, they got the military, they got the nukes. He'll use them. That's my assessment of the situation. Now, the other assessment of the situation is this. You notice, like in the weather patterns that has been going on throughout the world, like the UK's been having worse winters than ever. There's been snow like crazy up in the Northeast and Boston, breaking records in the Midwest. Snow even in Southern California one time, Nevada, Las Vegas. This is actually a map of what goes on in the what happens when you go into a mini ice age. And what happens is you look at the dark blue is where, it gets the coldest. Actually, Alaska gets warmer, to tell you the truth, during the mini ice age. Look what happens to Russia. You know what's going to happen to their crop production? Of course, Europe too is going to get screwed up, especially Russia though. You know what's going to happen to their crop production? They're screwed. So I think they got something where they're going to have to, well, not they, Putin is going to do it. Putin's going to do it. He's going to start World War III, man. I don't know why I'm putting out this video, because I already know the situation is polarized as far as the viewers. There's people that just believe everything there is that comes out of Putin's mouth. They just hate the United States to the max. They're anti-American, but they never lived in the other side. They don't realize how bad it is over there. It's like taking everything wrong with the United States and then multiplying it by 10 maybe. And that's what you got in Russia. You got 110 oligarchs got 35% of the wealth. 110 oligarchs got 35% of the wealth. That makes the United States look like a freaking equal land of utopia. But you know, I know a lot of people don't like Femin. This is Femin here doing a protest, but you know, tell you the truth, they're pretty much on the money with a lot of this stuff, big time. What's going on, including all the fake religion, the fake garbage coming out of the Vatican, the fake Muslim, Islamic kooks and stuff like that, the whole 9 yards. It's like, you know, I know a lot of people don't like them, but it's like they're pretty. You know, I didn't really know what the hell was going on with them either in the beginning. I figured somebody's paying them, but I pretty much agree with all their philosophy, what the hell they're saying. Now I realize that's just how I'm coming up with it independently. But what I could tell you on this update here is that even though Russia is getting clobbered, they're getting slaughtered economically. Their food prices are going up through the roof. Their rubles went in half. They're not really a unified, homogenous people. They're a loosely held federation of semi-autonomous republics. Most of the land area of Russia is actually in these semi-autonomous republics, you know, and you know, most of the population is actually here in the west, near the where Europe is. What actually I think though, what's going to happen though, is because you got a dictator by the name of Vladimir Putin. What's going to happen is that he's gonna basically when he gets backed in a corner, he's gonna pull the trigger. That's how I see it. You know, I mean, I like to see it go on. If it does happen, I like to see it go on the idiots that are his supporters. That'd be nice, not me. And hopefully, it goes on his supporters, because you know they're never gonna wake up until they're dead. But this situation is it's almost like, you know, it's almost like a guy that's a thug that's backed into the wall. What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? That's how I read Putin. He talks sweet, he talks nice on the outside. He's all civilized on the outside. He's not. He's not. I can tell you that right now. He is definitely not. If he gets backed into the wall, he's not going down. He'll take everybody and everything around him, go down with him. That's why I think it's a dangerous situation. Even though Russia is getting weaker, they're sitting on a major nuclear warhead pile, and they can do it, man. They can do it. So if you want doom and gloom, there's some reality behind the doom and gloom, but the ones that are in alternative media that are pushing this doom and gloom button, it's almost like they think it's a good thing. I think it's a very bad thing, but there is actually a problem with this. And it's not like Russia's all this big unified country. But the problem is you got a few people got all the power. Like I said, even wealth-wise, 110 oligarchs got 35% of the wealth. Putin's got about 50 billion himself, and you know whose interest he protects. And I know he's probably on a hot seat because those oligarchs are going down in wealth due to the energy prices going down and the commodity prices going down and the sanctions. So what option does he have? You know what I mean? I already figured out that this video is not going to be popular with some people no matter what. But I'm telling you right now, it is the reality of the situation. Russia's getting weaker, but as they're getting weaker, since it's run by Putin, it's not the Russian people going to be doing this. Putin, once he gets backed in the corner, he's going to be saying, "Oh, Mother Russia's going to do, not going to be subservient to anybody." When the Mother Russia's not subservient to anybody except you, Putin. That's what the deal is. That's really what it is. It's Russia subservient to Putin and the oligarchs. He acts like he's investigating him. He's not investigating shit. He works for him. He's part of him. It's a scam. God. But, I don't know. I'll never hear Gerald Celente or Mike Rivero or Manarino freaking say anything against that. Nah, man. Putin's a saint. Fucking, oh, God. I had enough of this shit. But anyway, let me tell you, though, the reality situation actually is, even though Russia's getting weaker from these sanctions, they're getting more dangerous. And it's not like it's our fault. The fault is the guy that's running the joint, Putin.